Okay, I will be kind of quick on this. This is nothing that I think I've sent out a video with this. I've sent out the PowerPoint. I've talked to the clinical champions call, so none of this is new, but I think it's obviously important to get the incentive scorecards and structures and everything out there. So go through it one more time for everyone. So the first thing to talk about is that in our kind of ever-changing relationship with Blue Cross, the timelines are changing a little bit again. Hopefully it's all aligned again now, so it'll be easier, but the P4P year, which is run from November to October for the last 5-6 years, is now going to match the VBR year and run from September to August. So it's a little bit weird that your 2026 P4P year, or is a whole third of it is in, or more than that. 5/12 of it is in a different calendar year, but that's the way it goes. And I mean, we maybe think about calling them something different, but so just to look at some of the stuff in 2025. So the 2025 VBR year started on September 1st. The 2026 P4P year will start on November 1st. And then your intervention templates for the P4P year are due on November 15th. In January, what we've got to look at is that the 2025 P4P scorecards will come out. So I always send those to you guys and give you guys a couple weeks to look at it, make sure we didn't make a mistake before those get submitted to Blue Cross. And then in August, the 2026, at the end of August, the 2026 P4P and VBR years will both end. So the 2026 P4P year, which is the one that starts on November 1st of this year, is only 10 months. That only happened once, but that's, we kind of wrestled with the idea of like double counting months in 2 different years or just having a shorter year. We looked at the data, it didn't matter like from a performance standpoint with seasonality or anything like that. So we just kind of made the 26 P4P year only be 10 months, and then we'll be kind of back on track for 12-month years starting on September 1st of 2026, where the 2027 P4P and VBR years will start. So the end of next summer, the P4P and VBR years will be on the same timelines. They'll run September 1st through August 31st. So then next year's intervention templates are going to be due earlier. We haven't exactly, it's always worked out really nicely that this fall meeting has been, right before the P4P year starts. And we don't plan for exactly how. We'll probably just have to do this stuff a little more off schedule, not in the meetings, as opposed to changing the whole meeting schedule. But so those timelines will be a little bit different going forward. Questions about timelines. So it's basically starting in the 2027 years, they'll be on the same. Everything's going to be running September through August. Your 2026 P4P year is only 10 months. So that's November of 2025 through August of 2026. This will all be in all your reports and everything when we send it out. Okay, so just kind of relatively quickly through the 2026 P4P and VBR years, just as a reminder, the way that we arrive at all these things is the coordinating center looks at the data, we work with the executive committee, come up with a scorecard for P4P and VBR, get that approved with the executive committee within Medic, and then get that approved by Blue Cross. I don't think we've had any pushback from Blue Cross in years, so that's I say exactly a rubber stamp, but they're pretty on board with what we decide to do. So the 2026 P4P scorecard, just as a reminder of the way that it breaks down. So in your first year, so I think in 2026 we will have maybe a few year one sites. So the new Munson sites will be in year one. So that scorecard is 100% participation. In year 2, you get 70% participation, 30% performance. So that will be for this coming year, all the McLaren sites plus OSF, Dickinson, and my Michigan, Sault Ste. Marie. And then everybody else is in year 3+, where 70% of your scorecard is on performance and 30% is on participation. So the scorecard, the year 1 scorecard, not sure, I guess it's our new Munson people. All performance, this has not changed. Basically, send your data in, come to meetings, and you'll get all your points. So year 2, so this is our McLaren sites, our OSF, up in Escanaba, Dickinson in Iron Mountain, and then my Michigan and Sault Ste. Marie. 70 points are on participation. It's kind of the same things. Get your data in, come to the meetings. You have a snap review this time. And then on your performance, you're going to have a couple choices. So 10 points are going to be a site-specific measure where you can choose between adult head injury, peds head injury, chest X-ray, or naloxone. Then you'll be part of the collaborative wide measures that we're working on in 2026. So 10 points on chest pain, 5 points on the asthma bundle compliance, and then 5 points on PE. So in your intervention template, there'll be a place for you to make the choice of which of the for your site-specific 10-point thing you want to choose. So with the pediatric readiness measure, the year 3 is a little bit complicated this time. So for sites that are doing pediatric readiness, again, your 30 participation points, same thing they always are. For your performance points, 20 of it's on pediatric readiness. So that's, and if you have not been contacted about pediatric readiness, then you're not doing it in 2026. We're, most of the way through the first level of that. So 20 points will be on pediatric readiness. Then you'll choose one of those same choices that we talked about for year 2 for your other site-specific measure, adult head injury, peds head injury, chest X-ray, or naloxone. And then you're in the collaborative wide measures as well. The point values are a little bit higher because you have more of your points on performance than the year 2 sites. So 15 points on asthma bundle compliance, 10 on chest pain, and then 5 on PE diagnostic yield. For sites that are not doing pediatric readiness, the only difference is that instead of choosing one of the site-specific measures, you choose 2 of those. So you don't have the 20 points on pediatric readiness. So you do choose 2 of those, of the 2 head injuries, chest X-ray, and naloxone, and then you have the same amount on the collaborative wide measures. For our peds only site, it's who is doing pediatric readiness. So you got 20 points on pediatric readiness. You'll make a choice between head injury and chest X-ray for your other 20 points. And then since you aren't in the PE module, your collaborative wide measures are split between, or actually, you're not in PE or naloxone, so you're, what is it? PE or chest pain, sorry. So all of your collaborative wide points are on the asthma compliance bundle. Okay, so the targets for our measures this year, they're a little bit progressed from the years past, but not that different than our previous years. So again, this is where you're making a choice. So I think this is a situation where you want to look at your performance, see what you think you're most likely to get. And it'll be the same as it always is, that if you do better than the year before, but don't hit the target, you get about 2/3 of the points. And if you hit the target, you get all the points. So it's not totally all or nothing on that. So 70% or higher appropriateness on adult head injury, 15% or lower utilization on peds head injury, less than 24% utilization on chest X-ray, and greater than 60% on naloxone distribution. For the collaborative wide measures, the asthma bundle compliance, greater than 18%. So I know, we've talked about this before, where about, I don't know, a half to 2/3 of our sites are at 0, mostly because they're not doing the asthma scoring. So 18 is really where we're at now. So in order for the collaborative to meet this collaborative measure, we just need somebody, don't get worse. And then, a couple hospitals to start doing the asthma scores, just get a little bit better. This is the first year we've done this. It's a pretty low bar. So, we just need a little bit of improvement to hit that. Chest pain, the goal is 95% discharge. So I think the actual current performance is closer to like 98.5 or 99%. I think we've kind of decided from a, just balancing measure of patient safety that we're probably not going to go higher than 95 as the target on chest pain. So this one should be pretty easy. Then everybody's favorite measure, PE diagnostic yield. We actually made the target, it's 8.0% this year instead of the 8.5 that it's been previously. So should be a little easier. We almost are hitting the 8.5 this year. So trying to one of these years actually get some success on PE. So hopefully we'll pull that off. All right, so next steps for year 2 and 3 sites, choose your site-specific measures, put those on your intervention templates. We'll give you a little time to work on that shortly in a second here, and get those submitted through Zendesk by November 15th. Questions about P4P? VBR. Same as it's been the last couple of years. There's 3 different types of VBR. The 3% collaborative wide performance, 2% hospital performance, and 2% on smoking cessation. So for our collaborative wide performance, as a collaborative, and again, this is all year 2+ sites are part of this year, part of it this year, not quite all year 2+ sites, all 2+ year sites. We have to get 2 out of these 3. So we have to have less than 25% on peds head injury, greater than 62% on adult head injury, and less than 30% on chest x-ray. So again, as a collaborative, we hit 2 out of these 3. Everyone that's eligible gets the 3% VBR on those. You don't have to do there. No, you have nothing to do here. You're part of, if you're in year 2, you're part of it, and we will measure, and you'll get it if we make it. For the 2% hospital VBR, so this is a change from how we've done it in the past. So this is the one where we've had to have all your docs get an account on Tableau, fill out a survey, do all that sort of stuff. We're removing that requirement. The feedback from the executive committee was that it was, the whole idea was that by having everyone sign up and get an account, they would actually look at their data and be more engaged. And I think it was mostly just annoying and didn't seem to correlate all that well to performance. So now the 2% is just, you got to pick one of these measures as your site. If you hit the target, all of your docs are eligible for 2%. If you don't, none of them are. And there's no, it doesn't matter what the individual docs do. It's like, this is your site picks a measure, you work on it, and you either get the 2% or don't get the 2%. And so these were supposed to be submitted to me by email by October 1st. So if you have not done that, please do that. I actually have not checked to see who has and hasn't, but I've got them all in my email. But gotta get that in. And what's also different this year is that basically any measure that we have is on this scorecard this year. So you can choose anything. We just no real guidelines. I mean, obviously it'd be nice to choose something that you have a little bit to work on, but there's no hard rules that say you can't choose something that you're already doing pretty well on. So basically steps on this: choose your measure, meet the measure, get the VBR, make sure you tell me. If you don't tell me, you'll get defaulted into adult head injury because that's just the easiest, or I guess it would be peds for children's. But other than that, if you're gonna get adult head injury, if you don't tell me something, whether that's good or bad for you, we'll see. Okay, last one is the smoking VBR. So this is the same. So actually a couple differences this year. So this is a voluntary VBR. This is not abstracted. It's all through electronic data. So you can choose to send us the data. 2 differences this year. One, it's always been the COPD before. This year, if you want to do asthma in addition to or in place of COPD, you can. Actually, I think someone did choose that. So we actually have to define that a little bit better. And then the target's gotten a little harder this year. So this year you have to either have 1 month at greater than 30%, or 3 months at greater than 15. And I think last year it was 3 months at greater than 10, or 1 month at greater than 25. So if you want to do this, you need to, if you're already doing it, we kind of just assume that you're still doing it and you're not. If you want to change something, tell me, but if you're already getting your data, we're just going to keep measuring you the same way we have been. But if you're not doing it and you want to do it, there's some IT work. So you're not, basically you have to send us smoking status and smoking cessation counseling status for all of your patients in order to be graded on this. And once you get the electronic data flowing, there's no abstraction, then we just calculate that for you and we'll send you a monthly report and tell you how you're doing on that.
And just for those sites who have not done it, this is an adult only.
Yeah, 18 and over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So your next steps on VBR, the one that we have the least amount of visibility to and control over is that all of your docs have to be enrolled in one of Blue Cross's PGIT POs to be eligible to get the money. We occasionally get lists from Blue Cross that says who's in it and who's not. Hopefully you have some connection, or someone at your hospital has some connection to someone in the PO who will tell you. The other thing to note about this is that your PO does get a report every year that shows by NPI how much money all of your people earn by VBR. Whether they'll give it to you or not seems to be pretty variable, but it does exist, and we can try to point you to the right person, but we can't really make anyone give you that information. So get your docs enrolled in the PGIT PO. Tell me your 2% measure you wanna work on, or you'll get adult head injury. And if you wanna do smoking, like I said, if you're already doing smoking, you don't wanna change anything, you don't have to tell me anything, but if you do want to change what you're doing or start doing smoking, then reach out and we'll get you, hooked up on that. There's no real timeline in that because to be successful, you either have to have 1 month at 30% or greater, or 3 months at 50% or greater. So theoretically, you could start doing this in August, I guess. And if you got 30% in August, you would earn it. But your odds are better if you get more months in and get more chance to get it. So okay. Question. This is hopefully the same thing that I've sent in the videos and talked about before. But what questions about P4P or VBR?